is right where you left him. He awaits the three of you, holding the reins of the horses, keeping an eye on the local villagers. But no one seems to have approached you, or no one seems even eager to go near Durga Syn's hut.
Gammon will quickly walk over to Mateo and grab his horse's reins from him. We're to return to the castle. As he quickly mounts up.
Valentino as well.
All right, with that, we're going to end the scene there, because of course Diego is going to follow with them, I assume, as the young Canaanites leave the gypsy village. All right, and with that, we're going to take a quick break while Scott handles his call until he's ready to come back to us. Okay, actually, before we get started, let's gloss over what we're going to be doing. Let's summarize what you guys are going to do for the last night. It's actually going to take most of the night, most of that last night, just to get to the monastery before the supposed to begin. So you guys leave. The three of you left Durga Syn's village and arrived back to Castle Devrick. Did you inform Julieta of everything that went down there?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And Julieta, while you were at Castle Devrick, it seemed very uneventful. Nothing really took place there. None of the founders seemed to be there. It was mostly just Rodrigo rallying the levies of Lord Hardestadt to fall upon the monastery when the time was right. And they mean to depart the following night. So, do the four of you intend to depart with them?
Are they leaving first thing like we would have been anyway?
Yes, they mean to march through the whole day and reach the monastery at night.
If there's a carriage, I suppose if they're going to get there earlier than we would have, Valentino would have advised to get there earlier rather than later, if they can help it.
Okay.
Yeah. Gammon would definitely go along with that. With Mateo there, kind of going with them to help kind of, escort the carriage along. He would feel safe about it. And then he's also going to try to plan ahead and grab a little extra blood to take with them in the carriage, so that when they rise the next following night, everybody's ready and full.
Okay, so you're going to bring a cask of blood with you?
Yes.
Okay. And are you going to be taking a cask that is to Valentino's taste?
Gammon doesn't know about it, so no, he would not think about that.
Okay. Sorry about your luck, Valentino.
Maybe next time. Well, does he know Gammon is trying to... Does he know about this plan?
I don't know. Roll... what's alertness?
Okay.
Valentino and his special needs.
Gluten-free blood.
Sure. You see Gammon taking a cask with him into the carriage, and it occurs to you what he's doing.
Thinking it a wise idea, Valentino would go back and see if there's any left of that little casket that he found to bring with.
It's very nearly empty. There's probably only a blood point left in it.
He will take it.
All right. So the four of you are bundled up in Rodrigo's carriage while the soldiers loyal to Hardestadt march outward at his command. And with that, we are going to switch scene to the night of the attack and the ambush. You travel through most of the rest of the day and night to get to the monastery. An army, as it turns out, moves much, much slower than a few travelers. But it gives you time to fortify your thoughts and gather what is coming. Matteo is also among them. Although he is walking outside with Rodrigo in marching formation, while the 4 young Cainites inside the carriage are shuttered safely away from the sunlight. As you rise for the evening, everyone loses a blood point. But of course, casks are brought by Gehrman and Valentino to readily replenish your blood. Is everyone feeding from the casks to replenish their blood?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
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 And you do so, anticipating what is to come. And before long, the monastery looms in the distance. Rodrigo takes up his soldiers' positions in the forests around the monastery, effectively hiding everyone for the right moment to strike, and sending the 4 of you ahead into the monastery where Lord Hardestadt and the other founders are no doubt waiting in ambush in the grotto that they spoke of in their battle plan. So I imagine the 4 of you are advancing to the grotto to join them?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, and Gehrman, as you depart for the grotto, Matteo seems intent on coming with you.
Gehrman will give him a strong nod as he allows him to stroll in by his side.
He thanks you and follows after. So with that, we open our scene in the grotto of God's Heart, which is the garden in the center of the monastery courtyard. The monastery's inner garden is surprisingly large for a courtyard sanctuary, and you see that shielded from the elements, it lies cradled between the monastery's high walls and 3 large upthrusting rocks on its north side. These are the rocks where the grotto has been hidden by a number of thorn and spine-covered plants. And with some difficulty, you manage to brush them out of the way. They may have pricked you and caused you to bleed in life, but instead they do not, given that the 4 of you are dead. Only Matteo follows with some difficulty, stepping gingerly through the thorn-covered bushes. The grotto is cradled gently by a semicircle of rock, and as you emerge down into the dark confines, you see gathered there the founders who are awaiting very patiently. And Hardestadt looks at the 4 of you as he turns to regard you with some mixture of surprise and relief. You can see excitement upon his face as the plan is soon to come into effect. Ah, the fledglings finally join us, Hardestadt says. As you see, he is accompanied by Adana de Sforza, Milov Petrenkov, and Joseph von Baren are nearby. Milov stands pacing nearby with the restlessness of a caged animal, while Joseph merely stands hunched nearby, and Adana stands there looking relatively blasé and bored. The camera shifts to the 4 young Cainites and Matteo as they emerge into the grotto at Hardestadt's greeting.
Of course, my lord. Would not miss this.
Julietta, she walks forward and gives somewhat of a bow and curtsy towards Lord Hardestadt and the others. But she remains silent for now, taking in the grotto and where they are presently.
Gehrman will step forward to Lord Hardestadt and give a small bow. My lord. As he gestures to Matteo, this is Matteo, a sworn soldier who serves under me. He will prove useful in this battle to come.
Good. More fodder for the cannons to come, Hardestadt says.
Diego will
Gehrman.
step forward as well. Sorry.
Oh, Gehrman will look to Matteo as he steps back towards to take his side by next to Matteo and gives him a stern nod before standing at attention again.
The comment by Hardestadt doesn't seem to have shaken Matteo. In fact, he looks grim and certain for what's to come. As the camera shifts to Diego.
Diego simply steps forward and bows slightly in the Spanish fashion, but it should be enough to note that he's happy to be here.
Now that we are all in attendance, I will remind you that our plan cannot be executed until we have proof of the anathema's plot to usurp Japheth's heart blood. You will not leap forward until that moment, until we have everything we have been looking for.
My lord, we spoke to Durga Syn and have come upon some information about Claudius's plan.
Speak quickly. Hardestadt looks annoyed, much too focused on what's to come.
Apparently, there is some vessel they require for their plan, but we can stop them if we acquire Giovanni blood and place it upon the vessel. It could be an animal or an urn or something else, we're not certain, but it is apparently critical to whatever their intentions are.
Hardestadt takes in this information with his eyes narrowing. Matters of magic and blood. Why did not that damned usurper join us?
She said that she was going to be watching some storm of the dead, some maelstrom.
Durga Syn's prophecies have proven useful in the past, but they are always omens of maudlin nature. This attack is much more immediate, and swift violence will be visited upon Claudius Giovanni and all his ilk. Whatever nefarious magic they intend to work, I intend to cut down. We will all stop the anathema and bring the clans under the Camarilla. They will see the necessity of our protection.
Yes, my lord. He falls silent.
Good. We expect the anathema to arrive this evening. The conspiracy of Isaac is to meet with Japheth in this very garden a few hours hence. We will have a perfect view of the events from up there. Hardestadt points to the sloping passage which leads upward to the surface. You know that there is sufficient cover from the thorny bushes to hide and survey the garden. Are there any last-minute questions or preparations you mean to make? Once we ascend there to await the ambush, I will not have a word out of any of you.
Will Raphael be joining us?
No. Hardestadt says with a slight look of disgust. The Spaniards' talents are not for violence, unfortunately.
Gehrman stands at attention. We are all that is required.
I'm glad you're so eager. Milov speaks up, his voice like distant rolling thunder from God himself, as he regards the four of you. Milov is not armored or armed in any way, and yet the way he stands there and that look of contained power lets you know just quite how lethal that he is. Yes, let us be done with this, Hardestadt, Adonis says with some impatience. Very well. No more questions. Hardestadt dismisses the four of you and strides forward to lead his gathering up towards the entrance of the grotto to hide among the thorn bushes in the thick foliage up there to await the arrival of the conspiracy of Isaac. And as everyone files out, they leave the four of you behind.
We'll only have one chance, I suspect, once this begins. Hope you're all ready.
Gehrman looks to Matteo. We have always been ready for war.
Let us be done with this. I am eager to return to my son.
Not all of us will survive.
Why must you say this? Why cannot we all survive?
True. The powers we face are impossible. You heard what Durga Syn told us.
It is unlikely. This is true. We have all the tools and the learnings that we need to survive.
And I should note, are the four of you wearing your shrouds and boots?
Yes, he didn't take
Yes.
it off.
Yes. Julietta, by the way, looks rather small in hers, considering her slender and tiny stature, but she did garner the boots and the cloak.
All right, the camera focuses on the four of you standing in the grotto together.
If there's nothing else, we should prepare ourselves and get in position. If chance has it, I would see myself be the one to strike down Yadvika. He looks to the rest of you.
Julietta looks to Valentino and gives him a solemn nod. Very well. Shall we make haste? I am ready to be done of this.
Valentino nods, then turns as if to leave.
Julietta follows him.
Diego as well.
Gehrman will turn as he clasps a shoulder on Matteo's, clasp a hand on his shoulder as he gives him a nod and has him follow after him.
All right, and as the four of you crouch in the foliage alongside the founders waiting the ambush, we are going to look at what happens in the courtyard in the hours to come. The hours pass by, and you wait with tension and anticipation for what is to come. But before long, you see Japheth leading several of his monks to await Claudius Giovanni in the heart of the garden. You see, fanned out behind him are the hooded monks of the monastery, standing in a midnight vigil alongside him. Japheth is sitting on the rock seat to the right of the center seat, which is empty. You see the theme of three, as you saw 3 seats below in the catacombs. Here in the garden, you see 3 rock seats. Japheth awaits seated on the rock seat to the right. The center seat is empty. And before long, he is joined by a hard-faced old vampire with a deformed right arm who takes his place in the left-hand seat, opposite of Japheth. You have a hard time looking away from this new vampire who takes his seat upon the left one that you have not seen before. He is a hard, craggy-faced vampire who appears to be a man in his 70s, exuding a kind of menace that comes with an utterly cold and unrepentant monster. As I mentioned, his right arm is blackened and twisted in deformity from the elbow down, a desiccated limb that seems useless. The wispy strand hair fringe a balding head, his sunken eyes and the thin line of his mouth making him appear more corpse than man. You know without a doubt that this must be Augustus Giovanni, child of Cappadocius and sire to Claudius, his mortal son. You await in tension, and soon Claudius and the other conspirators of Isaac, what remain, that is, boldly enter the garden and, in mock submission, meekly approach Japheth, where he awaits alongside Augustus. You see Claudius for the first time since that fight at the inn in Belgrade. He is flanked by Lady Demetra and several of his household guard as he approaches where Japheth awaits him, with the monks fanned out behind him. You see now that this is the confrontation that has been coming. You see one of the ghouls nearby Claudius, wearing the livery of House Giovanni, is holding a white dove. As Giovanni and Jadwiga stop before Japheth, he motions to his ghoul, who approaches Japheth, and Japheth rises from his seat in answer. He accepts the dove from the ghoul, while Augustus remains seated. Japheth gestures to the dove deliverer to stand aside, and the monk does so. And with one hand, he beckons Claudius to come forward. You see Claudius stride up, a mock penitent smile on his arrogant face, dressed in his finest clothing tonight. His pack of conspirators stay at a respectful distance, as Jadwiga remains at the head of the small Giovanni household guard which surround her. Claudius kneels before Japheth. "Forgive me, brother, for I have sinned against you." "Aye, that you have, brother," Japheth says. You hear his voice carry across the courtyard, which is still and silent as the grave itself. There is a long pause that passes between them, only the cooing of the dove in Japheth's hand. "But my sire forgives all, as does my sire in heaven. And so, I forgive you." Claudius rises after a moment, making a show of flicking the dirt off of the knees of his silken hose. Japheth raises a hand to clasp Claudius's shoulder, holding the necromancer at arm's length. He holds the dove with the other in front of his chest, almost protectively. "Go forth," Japheth says, "and sin no more." "What's this? No kiss for your brother?" Claudius says in a taunting tone. "No kiss of peace and forgiveness?" Japheth releases Claudius's arm. Claudius moves in slowly towards Japheth's chest, his smile widening, and we see his fangs, even from this distance. Suddenly, Japheth catches Claudius's head in his hands, reaching up with one hand while protecting the dove with the other to grip the back of Claudius's neck with what you see as unnatural strength. The camera pans closer to the two as they stand there. "Hear me well, brother," Japheth says around his own fangs, which are now visible. "I am he who sits at the right hand of our Father. I obey his will and his word. Remember well the fate of those who forsake his path." A flash of fear crosses Claudius's face as he is held in Japheth's grip, before a look of serenity resumes on Japheth's face. He releases the necromancer with a sigh. "Come, Claudius. I await your kiss of peace. Let us know each other's souls and have done with it." Suddenly, Claudius grabs Japheth and pulls him near in a single violent motion. The dove is caught in between their bodies. You see that it falls, even from this distance, its neck broken, as Claudius plunges his fangs into Japheth's thin and pallid chest, shredding the monk's robe and sending a cascade of blood flying that you see even from this distance. The stench of Japheth's blood hits the air. The overwhelming scent of the ancient's blood is smelled very clearly, even where you crouch with the rest of the founders. You see from this distance in the moonlight the blood leaking from Claudius' thick, greedy lips, spilling down in bright red gobbets across Japheth's once pristine robes. Japheth's mouth is tightened, you can see, in a grimace, but his body remains impassive, arms held out wide to accept his brother's kiss. Only Japheth's fists and the blood running in rivulets down his chin from his own fangs biting into his mouth betray even a hint of unwillingness. All the monks but one sink to the ground immediately and intone a prayer begging Claudius to stop. And at that moment, the founders make their move. "Now!" Hardestadt motions to the rest of you, and you burst from the foliage. You see the founders lead the charge as the camera focuses in on the lambs of Isaac.
The second Hardestadt says the word, Gehrman immediately rips the claymore from his back and he vaults over the bushes of thorns, and he's at the forefront of the battle ready to charge.
Valentino as well, right behind Gehrman, bursts forward, drawing his sword.
Diego moves forward, drawing forth his longsword in one fluid motion, doing his best to keep up with the much more in physically good shape Gehrman.
Julietta, she's the last to move out of everyone, and she slowly eases her way through the bushes, being conscious of their thorns and avoiding them at all costs. And she stands aback from the others, watching what's going to play out, at first anyways.
Everyone roll initiative. All right, I'll be rolling for everyone else now. Ooh. That was a win. Oh my god. You guys seeing this?
Hmm.
Natural
Liking
ones.
this.
Ooh, Hardestadt. Alright. Alright. So, Diego, you have the honor of having the first turn. What do you do? Go ahead and describe it as the camera focuses in on you.
Delightful. What is basically the layout of what we're looking at right now? I know that Claudius has Japheth. and is
Yes,
stuck in his chest.
Claudius is gripping Japheth's chest and is feeding hungrily on him, while Japheth holds out his arms. The monks are praying, and Claudius's guard have surged forward to form a protective ring around their lord and master, while Jadwiga has joined them. So
All right.
and the founders are charging forward. And actually, as everyone runs forward, as the founders sweep down upon the conspirators and you run with them, you hear Japheth gasping, "Stand back! Let no blood be shed in the name of the Cappadocians!" He convulses and Claudius continues to drink.
Can I see what Augustus is doing?
He's merely sitting there upon his stone chair watching.
That's what I expected. Well, Diego has no interest in not spilling any blood, so he will attack one of the guards surrounding their master.
Alright, go ahead and make your attack. Alright, that's a hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. All right, so the way this is going to work is the guardsmen have 3 flanks around Claudius and his grip on Japheth. There's the flank on the northern side, which is 1, the western, which is 2, and the southern, which is 3. So I assume you attacked flank 1?
Yes.
All right, so yeah, you managed to dispatch one of their guards. Go ahead and describe it for us.
Dispatches and kill?
Oh, yeah.
So Diego rushes in, two-handing this blade that he has, this longsword, and he brings it in an overhand chop down on top of the guard's unsuspecting neck, cutting cleanly through the jugular there, and in the other important arteries that might lie in the general area.
All right, we go now to Adana, who has beat you, Gehrman. She's got a higher base initiative. She's actually going to activate her celerity, and she rushes forward past you, Gehrman, in a blur that you can't help but admire, and you see her immediately run forward with the knife edge of her hand and begin laying into the northern flank to break them as he charges as Adana charges the line. All right, that is actually 12 successes with her potence. Adana de Sforza moves like a blur amongst the guards of the northern flank. There are about 20 of them, but Adana dispatches a good 12 of them inside a few seconds. You've never seen anything like it. She's moving like violence given form as she smashes necks and breaks heads, plunging her fist through chests. As we go now to Gehrman.
Okay, both the flanks of Giovanni are broken, yes?
No, the northern flank is like opened. Adana opened an opening for you.
To Giovanni?
Yeah, you can get into the circle if you want.
Okay, Gehrman's going to take this as an opportunity, and he's going to rush in with his sword drawn high, and he's going to, with all of his blood and his body pumping, he's going to run and jump in for a wide swing attack.
And who are you attacking?
He's going to jump in the circle with Adana dispatching the soldiers.
Okay, so which flank are you going to attack? Because they close in on you. There's flank 2, which is to the west, flank 3, which is to the south.
Okay, she's currently dealing with the north, so he's gonna take her back and guard her flank, and he's gonna attack the flank from the south.
All right, that's flank 3. Go ahead and make your attack as they advance on you.
Let me send you my blood buffs. And as he leaps in the air, he's going to land, and then as the second his feet hit the ground, he's going to pivot around to de Sforza's back and cleave a line with his claymore at the soldiers of the south.
All right, make your attack. And so you guys know, for every 2 successes, you dispatch 1 soldier. And I'm keeping count of them. All right, roll that 10 again. All right, that's 7 successes with your specialty. Go ahead, roll your damage. And potence is automatic. All right. You kill 4 soldiers, Gehrman. Go ahead and... Nope. You kill 4 and wound 1. Describe it.
As she opens up the opening for Gehrman to jump in and land, he's gonna swing his sword, this massive claymore, and his arms pumped by his potence and his strength of his vampiric body. He's gonna cleave through 4 bodies straight through the middle and chop them all in half
I'm sorry, I forgot about your potence. That's actually 12, so you kill 6 of them.
Oh, as he swings, he carves a massive circle around in the guards to the south as it just cuts straight through all of them. One of them at the end tried to duck, but it just takes his head off, so body parts just fall down and blood all around Gehrman just spurts up into a massive fountain.
And as Gehrman gets Adana Desforza's back, we see Milov leading the charge. His blonde hair behind him as his white skin and fierce eyes flash, and that's the last thing Giovanni's soldiers see as the gangrel with his claws extended lay into the western flank all by himself. They assault him and turn and scream, but he flashes his claws and lays into them with supernatural speed. All right, with his potence, that's 10 successes. Milov is a blur. He immediately runs forward and impales one of the soldiers upon his claws and rips him outward. In a fine spray of blood, a mist surrounds him as he begins ripping their heads off, using his claws to sever their necks completely as the heads go popping sky high, flashing with his fangs and moving like a whirlwind. As we go now to Matteo, who has actually charged through the breach created by Adana and is at Gehrman's side to defend him in the battle against the soldiers as Matteo goes to attack. Oh, he didn't get to roll at 10 again, but it doesn't matter. That's a hit. Oh my god.
Yes. 4.
Oh no. But still, he kills 2 more to your flank, Gehrman. You hear him, yeah, as he charges in with his sword, and he skewers one immediately before ripping it out and slashing the man next to him, cutting open his throat in a fine spray of blood that bathes the both of you, as you're essentially fighting back to back now. As we go now to Valentino. Valentino, you see the northern flank has been crushed by Dysforza, and you see Jadviga standing there protectively by Giovanni, where he clutches Japheth.
Can Valentino, so as they emerge, can Valentino see anybody who's coming at him, who's trying to make an offensive against him?
No. Giovanni's soldiers seem devoted to protecting their master. They're clustered very close to Giovanni, where he has Japheth in his grip.
And what does it look like Jadviga's going to do?
Jadviga is standing there next to Giovanni, looking around at the battle with bared fangs.
Okay, so she's just kind of defending herself and Claudius?
Yeah, she appears to be.
Okay, as soon as he sees that he has his opportunity for vengeance, he's going to beeline towards Jadviga, and he's going to go straight at her with his sword raised high.
All right, go ahead and describe it as because you have to essentially charge through a breach that was created by Dysforza, who was moving like a blur. Go ahead and describe it as you charge up into the clearing.
So Valentino, seeing that the bodies are already falling, the blood is already spewing, he runs past some of these men that are falling dead to Gehrman and Milov and all the destruction. He's running, and he sees that blood is already splattering across him as bodies fall, and he jumps over corpses with his sword raised with precisely one goal in mind at the end of his sword as he raises it to bring it down on Jadviga.
All right, go ahead and make that roll. And she sees you coming, her eyes locking with yours, and she turns to face you. All right, roll your damage. Roll them 10s again. All right, with her fortitude, she takes 2 levels of lethal damage. Go ahead and describe this massive hit as you clash with your sire.
So Valentino, drawing close, he brings his sword down, right down the center of her torso, between her head and her shoulder, and he drags it down, and he can feel the resistance, and he's just gritting his teeth as he looks into her eyes, and he's dragging this blade down by pure hatred into her chest, and he sees the blood flying out, and this just further motivates him to push in.
As you lock eyes with Jadviga, she leans into the cut with defiance, glaring at you with her fangs bared. "Impudent child!" she hisses in your face as you feel her unnatural resistance, a blow that would have killed any other woman and instantly cut her in half, has stopped at her collarbone as you've cleaved her open at the shoulder. We go now to Joseph. Joseph is actually standing back on the outskirts of the battle, and if anyone is looking in his direction, he has actually raised his arms, his gnarled claws to the sky, and has begun to chitter in a high-pitched voice. All right. Where is it? All right, there it is. Immediately, bats from far away and from seemingly nowhere, they emerge from the belfry towers of the of the abbey. They emerge from the woods. They flood in a swarm flying overhead as you hear Joseph's chittering above them as the animals descend upon him and surround him in a flurry, a cloud of bats that just surround him, and then he points directly at Claudius's men. We go now to Hardestadt. Hardestadt has broken through the lines past Adana, where the Bruja have opened up the northern flank, past Adana, past German, and Hardestadt is backing you up, you realize, Valentino, as and roars with primal ferocity, and with his own sword drawn, attacks with a two-handed, overhanded slash at her. And scores a massive blow as he brings his sword down. Oh my god, this is gonna hurt. All right, Jadwiga. That is actually 10 successes on her soak with her fortitude, but it is not enough. As Hardestadt and the force of Hardestadt's blow actually knocks you aside, Valentino, as Hardestadt skewers Lady Jadwiga directly through the middle of her body and glares as the two of them fight each other with a ferocity that transcends the rest of this battle. As you see Hardestadt begin swinging his sword at her and chopping her down, cutting her. He severs one of her arms, and she cries in fear and terror as blood erupts, and Hardestadt continues to hack at her as she is basically effectively cut into torpor. As we go now to Claudius, who is continuing to drink greedily from Japheth. We see Japheth is standing in the middle of this battle with his arms held out wide at both sides, while Claudius continues to feed upon him. Jadwiga has fallen to the ground, completely cut apart. How does Valentino respond as Hardestadt cuts her into torpor?
Valentino, bracing himself from the sheer shockwave of the attack, looks over at her mangled, torpid corpse. His sword, him just having finished his attack and his sword still wet with the blood, looks briefly over to Hardestadt after staring at her corpse and gives him an approving nod and a sign of acknowledgement quietly through the battle.
Hardestadt is pumped with blood. You see his fangs bared. "Victory!" he roars as he stands over Jadwiga's corpse and turns to look at Claudius just in time as the western flank collapses around where Milov is fighting tooth and nail, and they charge. They charge where you're standing with Hardestadt, Valentino, to protect Giovanni. They are going to split their attacks among the two of you. And every 2 dice is a single sword. All right, that's a hit. Oh, that's... No. Rolled that with the wrong dice. Sorry. All right. They collapse on Hardestadt, and immediately the Prince of the Black Cross is fighting for his life as he turns and whirls around, baring his fangs, fending off swords from every angle as they collapse on him. He's going to roll his soak. And he manages to only take superficial wounds, a titan amidst this battle, as the guardsmen slash and cut at Hardestadt. The other half, they charge you, Valentino, and they set upon you with their swords. And surprisingly, only a few managed to hit you. Roll your soak, Valentino.
Alright, I'll be reflexively spending a blood on his fortitude to soak one of these.
Okay, got it. You manage to soak their attacks completely as these soldiers collapse on you and begin stabbing and slashing to try and get you away from Giovanni. Go ahead, describe that as you fight alongside Hardestadt.
Valentino, barely having time to even acknowledge Hardestadt for the tremendous blow he just did to his sire, immediately sees that Hardestadt is overwhelmed by soldiers, and then he is overwhelmed, and he holds his sword out as these men stab at him and slash at him, but the attacks are sloppy, and he can see that his training is helping him identify some of these attacks coming, and some of them just glance off of him, and his body is able to withstand a lot of it, and he growls, and his fangs are visible as he is just emboldened by the near destruction of his sire to withstand these attacks and take these men on as he stands there ready.
All right, so that was the second flank. The first flank is too busy with the Bruja. The third flank is going to collapse on Milov and try to rip him apart. The entire flank collapses on Milov and begins slashing at him, and you see the gangrel standing in the midst like just unarmored like a storm as these swords crash down on him. And to your shock, you see some of these swords actually break on his skin as he stands amidst this battle and begins deflecting these swords with nothing but his forearms, as his skin seems to have become as hard as marble as he rolls his soak. So he's actually cut that damage in half, rounded down. So that's going to be 5 lethal he actually took before soak. and he actually, amazingly, he manages to soak it completely. He's standing with over 20 soldiers surrounding him, trying to bring him down. And Milov Petrenkov is like the heart of a storm. He is slashing and growling and blocking all of these swords that are coming down on him. Diego, it is your turn.
Do I get a turn?
Oh, babe, I forgot you. Oh, no. Next time, speak up. Okay. Sorry about that, babe.
Okay, so all this has happened, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Julietta, I mean, does she have a clear view of Claudius?
It's hard to see because he's surrounded by so many fighting men, but you think maybe you can see him, maybe.
Well, she kind of takes a moment to look at the Nosferatu vampire that's somewhat to the right of her, and she sees that he casts some sort of spell on the chaos that ensues in front of them, and all these bats are flying everywhere, and it's complete and total chaos. And as everyone's fighting, she kind of tries to back up and circle a little bit to see if she can get a better view of Claudius amidst everyone fighting.
All right, so what are you doing?
She's trying to get a better view, like her sight on him more accurately.
Okay, go ahead and roll your perception alertness to see if you can get a sight on him. Difficulty is going to be 7. It is a pitched battle. Oh yeah, you see him very clearly through the fighting, especially with the aid of your auspex.
Once she finds a good position and she can see him clearly, Julietta, she's taking in the scene, she's taking on what's going on, and she decides to use her incubus humor against Claudius.
All right. Difficulty is going to be... Okay, which humor are you using?
Melancholy.
All right. Roll your manipulation empathy versus a difficulty of 4. Roll that 10 again. Well, the difficulty was 4, so that's a success, actually. So you accumulate 11 successes on that, and go ahead and describe it as you direct your power at Claudius.
Julietta just hones in all of her ability and all of her power into this skill that she's only recently realized she has in the last several nights, and she hones in all of it onto Claudius. Her eyes narrowing as she focuses this melancholy stature upon him, and hoping he just falls to his knees.
And the minute you hit him, you can see Claudius's body convulse as he actually pauses in his diablerie of Japheth, and blood erupts from his mouth. and then he struggles as if fighting to go back and bury his fangs again into Japheth, which he does, and continues to feed, although with much increased difficulty. Garamond, you're going to go ahead and be able to take your celerity action now.
Garamond is still cleaving at the southern flank, protecting Adana de Sforza's back. He's gonna round himself and take up another swing, this time at lightning speed to catch them off guard.
All right, go ahead and make your attack. All right, the swell and the push of their swords and their bodies catch you off guard as you get knocked off balance. Garamond, what happens?
As he swings, the massive number that are constantly surging in around him makes him adjust his footing, and one of his foot slipped. So his swing goes wide without much power behind it, and all he connects with is clanking of steel hitting their swords.
All right, and before we go into the next turn, something happens as Augustus Giovanni stands from his bench and raises a hand and begins intoning a chant in what sounds like Greek from where you're standing, as he holds out a hand and points to the battle. Immediately, almost all of the men that you have dropped so far that have been killed, especially on the northern flank where the Bruja are fighting, immediately they lurch back to their feet, climbing back up as if pulled by some dark power, raised back up into zombies, and they begin attacking you with renewed vigor. As the dead begin to rise, we go now to Diego.
Diego looks on in horror as the dead rise around him, but he's not ready to give up. He'll wade into the first flank, swinging his sword like a madman, his body pumped with blood.
All right, so you're fighting in the flank with Matteo and Sforza and Garamond?
Yes.
All right.
Trying to create a swath so that more of us can get to Giovanni.
All right, so now effectively the flanks will get soak rolls because they're dead.
Oh, swell.
Roll them 10s again. You only managed to barely injure one, Diego. Go ahead and describe your battle against the undead hordes.
Oh, we're not rolling damage then.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got confused. Go ahead, roll your damage.
Okay. I get pluses for those extra successes, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep, +4.
+4, yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting confused. It's a big battle.
A lot of numbers flying around.
Oh, man.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, no. You can roll that 10 again still. Oh, no, wait.
No.
Did you use the soak dice damage? Because that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 successes by my count.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait. I didn't use the right button. That's why.
Okay, so roll that 10 again. You're at 5 right now. All right, 6. So with their 4 soak, you manage to kill one of the zombies as he shambles towards you. Go ahead, describe it, Diego.
Diego looks the dead thing in the face and swings his longsword in an arc, slashing both of its legs from its body. And it falls to the ground in a splorchy heap.
The corpse collapses, its legs chopped out clean out from underneath it, as we go now to Adana, who is actually fighting only a few. The knife edge of her hand and her claws and her fangs biting and striking at the zombies around her. Ooh. Still, that's 9 successes with her potence. I'm gonna roll soak. All right, she manages to cleave several zombies with her strength and her speed, with nothing more than her bare hand and her fangs, ripping heads off and severing limbs. Just a whirlwind of fury as we go now to Gehrman, who is fighting alongside Mateo near Adana and Diego.
Seeing the dead rise is given Gehrman a jolt of fear that no matter how many they cut down, they're just going to keep getting back up. But he steels himself in pumping his body with more and more blood, making it more and more powerful. He grits himself together and he begins to fight even harder. And he's going to take another massive slash at the southern flank.
All right, roll it, Gehrman. All right. Oh my god, roll them 10s again. So with your potence, how much is that?
That's 12. Oh. Silly fuckers.
Alright. You basically fight a group of 12 zombies, and you manage to kill, you managed to kill 3 of them. Yeah, go ahead and describe that.
Gehrman is fighting fiercely. He's trying to knock away their swords and slash back at them. And with his mailed gauntlet, he's grabbing the edge of his sword so that he can push this long sword further and past their defenses with his strength. And it's cleaving through them, pushing their swords back and into their own necks. It's complete chaos. And as he cleaves 3 more, he looks up to see the others unscathed and still charging.
Milov, meanwhile, is fighting a flank all to himself as we renew his attacks. Oh no. It's a tough roll. Well, still. All right, with his potence and specialties, that's 12 successes. And they do not hold up pitifully to the fearsome gangrel warrior as he goes through dead and living alike with his claws, slashing, cutting them open to ribbons with both hands. He moves like a whirlwind with his celerity, and it's unbelievable. You've never seen anything like it. He's surrounded by over 30 soldiers and zombies, and if anyone looks in that direction, all they will see is a cloud of blood and meat that is in the air so fine like a mist as he moves, slashing with body parts and entrails going everywhere. As we go now to Mateo, who is going to rush in to defend Gehrman. Mateo's actually standing at your side, Gehrman, waiting for attacks that might come towards you with his sword raised, ready to parry them. He's not on the offensive, but the defensive, defending your back. Valentino, you're up. You're surrounded by zombies, man.
Okay. So you've got an entire flank about to... It looks like and a flank is going to go after him.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's just you and Hardestadt in that whole flank.
Okay. Does he have time to decapitate Yavika before going on the defensive? Just full defensive?
Yeah, you can perform a coup de grace.
Alright. Seeing that something occult is happening, and he is not going to be robbed of his chance for vengeance a second time, he looks down quickly and brings his sword down across Yavika's neck, severing her head. Send you back to hell where you belong.
And the minute your sword comes down on her neck, you feel the bone and the vertebrae and the flesh part away from her undead form. And the minute your sword cuts her head off, you see her body ripple into ash and explode until nothing but bones and her fanged skull remain.
He quickly raises his sword up to parry the incoming hordes of the undead.
Alright, so you're taking up defensive posture?
Yeah, full defense with parrying.
Alright, we go now to Joseph, who has directed a horde of bats to assault the flank where the Bruja have almost completely broken. And this is something that Diego and Gehrman would see while fighting alongside Mateo and De Sforza. The bats descend on the undead at the direction of Joseph in a swarm like a fist of moving flesh and animals, chittering and hammering into their side as they crash into the side of the undead hordes and begin devouring them and biting them. But unfortunately, since many of them are dead, it's not as effective as it could possibly be. But they still take 8 levels of lethal, which they'll have to soak. Alright, another 2 zombies go down under the hordes of bats that assail them. The bats are literally ripping them apart. There are so many thousands of them. As we go now to Hardestadt, who has tightened his posture next to Valentino in the fight, and he goes on the offensive. He begins swinging, hacking his sword at the zombies, yelling, "You damned bastards! You will not take victory from me!" as he raises his sword and begins cleaving through them. All right, with his specialties, that is 9 successes. All right, the zombies get their soak. And still, he manages to slay a good 4 or 5 of them in his charge, as he begins cutting heads, severing limbs, hacking away at the flank as it closes in around him and Valentino. You're surrounded on all sides as Giovanni continues to feed around the press of zombies that move past him and Japheth. Japheth's eyes are closed, his head raised to heaven as his hands are held out as the zombies shamble past and forward Hardestadt and Valentino as Hardestadt fights like a cornered animal. We go now to Claudius, who continues to feed. He's having extreme difficulty, however. It's obvious that he's fumbling a few times. But he continues to drink from Japheth, and even though he coughs and he struggles to continue from some unknown force that is assailing him, as we go now to Julieta.
Underneath Julietta's breath, she says a soft "damn it," as she sees that her powers are somewhat affecting him, but they're not as contrite as she had wished. And her eyes quickly shift over to the man that was sitting in the other seat, and she sees as he stands and raises his arms, and the undead had pulled themselves up from the ground, and a small sliver of fear kind of runs through her. She knows that he's controlling the dead, but she looks back to Claudius, and she's torn between who to go after next, but she quickly just decides to try and assault his mind once more with her incubus humor.
All right, just so you know. Just so you know, further uses of incubus humor are not going to have an effect on him. Just so you know.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't know that though, right? Because I don't.
You would be able to sense that, I think.
Oh, I would?
Yeah.
All right, well, if she can sense that, then she would haphazardly look over to Augustus and try and use her powers on him then.
All right, go ahead and roll your incubus humor on Augustus. Difficulty's going to be 2. Immediately, you hit him with your power, Julieta, as you try to assault his mind with your powers, and instantly you know something is very wrong the minute you try to hit Augustus with your incubus humor. Something is wrong. It didn't affect him. You don't know why. Make a perception awareness roll. You can add your aspects to it. Difficulty 6. You can see now, Julieta, as you look at him, and go ahead and describe Julieta's reaction to her power failing on Augustus.
Julieta's eyes kind of narrow and squint as her mind is just blocked by something that's just more powerful than these abilities she has, and she kind of moves her fingers to her temple, trying to concentrate on doing some sort of damage to him, but it's just not complying.
You can see that he shimmers in the moonlight a bit. He is almost transparent, as if he's not really here. You realize, as you look at him with your aspects, that he is not a flesh and blood vampire. He is here in form only, but not here at the same time. You don't know how to describe it. How does Julieta react to this realization?
Well, the first thing she thinks is he like Cappadocius was, some sort of spirit brought back from the dead? Um, he's obviously not really there, but he is at the same time. I mean, he can use his powers. So she's just taken aback, and confusion kind of washes over her. But she is literally just kind of staring at him in awe.
All right, the last of the zombies in the almost completely broken flank try to assault. Actually, they're so few and their attacks are so divided that I'm going to say they attack everyone in the first flank. They attack you, Diego. They attack Gehrman and Mateo, and they attack Adana. But there's so few of them left. I mean, it's hardly worth a roll, but we'll see. Oh wow, it's a hit. Oh wow. Okay, so everyone in the first flank, roll your soak. However, Mateo has taken a defensive posture next to Gehrman, so he is actually going to roll a parry as the zombies press in around Gehrman.
I thought we were in flank 3.
No, you've always been in flank 1. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Mateo defends you valiantly from the zombies, Gehrman, as they press in on you. He begins deflecting them, pushing them away with the blunt, flat edge of his sword. As they reach for you with their rotting hands, their chopped hands, he pushes them away, and as you continue to fight, Diego, you take 4 levels of lethal as the zombies crash upon you and begin biting you and pulling on you. What happens as Diego's engulfed by them?
His free arm flies up in sort of a grasping motion. It's very dramatic as he screams, "Ow!"
All right. Now Adana's going to roll hers. And Adana manages to soak the attacks of the zombies. She seems to be holding her own against them as they crash upon her and begin biting and clawing at her. We go now to the second flank, who continues to assault Milov. Who crash upon him. His marble skin lets him cut the damage in half. He should get through this just fine. Yeah, even without his fortitude, he just completely soaks up their attacks, deflecting them with his, they shamble forward and swing their swords and claw for him, but he continues to fight bravely in the center of the flank as we go now to the last flank, who is surrounded Hardestadt and Valentino. Valentino, go ahead and roll your dexterity, celerity, melee to try and deflect this incoming attack.
Okay.
Oh, you just barely fail to completely deflect it. But here's the damage for you. Go ahead and roll.
And he's also going to be spending another blood to absorb this with his fortitude.
All right. So you take 2 lethal, Valentino, as the zombies assault upon you. Go ahead and describe that fight.
So Valentino sees that they're coming from all sides, and try as he might, he raises his sword, he swings it out as these arms come across, and he stops some of them, but one of them gets a really good latch on his arm as he extends forward, and he feels them bite down. He cries out. His fangs are bared as he tries to pull back away, but the bite is solid.
Hardestadt's armor and his fortitude, his unnatural resilience, seem to be saving him from taking further damage as he is assailed by these ghouls that are biting and slashing and gnashing and clawing at him. You hear his cry above the din of the combat, "Yeah!" as he raises his sword and continues to struggle. Does anyone have celerity actions?
No, I forgot to spend my celerity.
All right, Diego, your turn.
All right, Diego focuses healing up some of his wounds. Even down, he refuses to be out. And he will attempt to get out of this mess he's gotten himself into. With the end of a blade.
You managed to hit them. It seems like fighting an inevitable tide, Diego. You're unable to make any headway as the zombies press around you. Go ahead and describe Diego's desperate fight.
He doesn't have any room to swing his arm, so he's just sort of batting at them with the ball of his fist at the end of the pommel. Get away from me! Get away!
Adana de Sforza continues to work her savagery. As she sweeps in, you see her, Diego. She comes out like a blur and begins hacking at the zombies around you. Oh my god. Alright, so with her specialty, that is 10 successes. With her potence, that's 14 successes as she completely rips all of these zombies off of you. It's amazing. Diego, you look up, you see Adana come in. She clamps her hands on these zombies, their entire bodies going flying with the power of her potence. She swings her arm wide and sends 3 of them flying as they crash into her powerful arm. And she just parts them like a wave and rescues you as she completely dispatches the first flank. There's a few zombies left, but Gehrman, you realize with Mateo defending you that the zombies have thinned to a point where the flank has collapsed. Adana has done it and broken them. And you are free to take action.
While they're free and he's seeing that their numbers are dwindling, he's gonna shout out, "Get Claudius!" And he's gonna hold his claymore in one hand and unsheath his dagger with his other hand, with his main hand, and he's gonna try to rush forward, and he's gonna stab Claudius right in the head.
All right, you have to get to him.
Okay.
You have to fight your way through the zombie hordes that are surrounding him. So make a strength athletics roll. Your potence can help you here if you want to spend the blood. You need to lead at least 5 successes to get to him.
Okay. Strength athletics, you said?
Yes, strength athletics. Your potence can help you here. Because you gotta push your way through the zombie horde to get to him.
Okay.
You need 5.
Okay. Difficulty 6?
Yep. All right, roll that 10 again.
And with his potence, that's 8.
Gehrman, you are an unstoppable charge. Describe it.
He as he roars out, his fangs are extended and his mouth is agape as he roars through them. Claymore in hand, he's using his offhand to use this massive sword to push them out of the way, and his elbows and his chest, he's battering down all of these zombies that are in his way, knocking them to a side. Some of them are flying as he runs forward with a stab with his dagger straight into the back of the head of Claudius Giovanni.
All right, Gehrman, you can make this attack at difficulty 3. He is engaged in diablerie.
And Gehrman is going to be spending a willpower.
All right.
He's putting everything he has into this attack.
All right, go ahead and roll the damage on your dagger.
Okay.
And that's going to be +2 to the damage because it's a headshot. Claudius rolls a 7 for soak. Roll them 10s again.
And with his potence, that's 10.
So he takes 3 lethal as you drive the dagger deep in. Actually, where do you stick him, Gehrman?
He was aiming straight for the back of the skull, but getting past the zombies, it actually drove his dagger down because he had to extend his reach to actually reach him in time. So you actually stabbed him right below at the base of the neck.
And the minute you stab him, you manage to successfully disrupt. Well, no, let me see. I hate hitting the wrong buttons. Sorry, guys, I hit the wrong button. So sorry about that.
All good.
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Claudius might make this. Like he needs five willpower successes and difficulty 9 to keep his diablerie going. But shit, he's not doing bad. Oh my
Oh
god.
no. Please don't. Please don't.
Oh no.
Oh,
No,
no.
you disrupted him.
Yes.
You stopped his diablerie as he collapses backward, his mouth running with Japheth's blood, and you stand over him, Gehrman. Gehrman, what do you say to him as Claudius glares up at you?
Yeah. As Gehrman glares down at him with his hateful eyes and this horrid glare, his teeth are bared and he hisses at Giovanni. You will fall this day.
And as the battle continues to rage in the middle of God's Heart Garden, the wind begins to blow. The wind picks up, an icy cold wind, as Claudius looks around. For the first time, you see the fear on his face. Aaron, go ahead and mute your mic, by the way. You see the fear on his face as the wind begins to pick up. The camera focuses in on Julieta as the wind begins to pick up. What happens, Julieta, is you know something terrible is coming.
Julieta, when she sees Gehrman attack Claudius, her eyes scan over to Japheth. What is he doing?
Japheth is looking down at Claudius with a sad look on his face. Gehrman seems to have disrupted Claudius.
Julieta looks to the others, and there's obviously an expression of fear upon her face as she, she's standing there and she's afraid. But she does await whatever it is because she's not quite sure what it is.
The camera shifts to Diego. Diego, as you lay there on the ground, rescued by Adana, and the wind begins to blow, a chill dread goes through you as you know something horrible is coming.
What is this?
Adana is looking around with her fangs bared, completely confused. The camera focuses in on Valentino. As you fight alongside Hardestadt, the wind begins to blow. Valentino, you know something horrible is coming.
Back to back with Gehrman slicing and defending himself with these parries, he realizes he feels this wind, and he looks up, fangs still bared. The maelstrom? Is this it?
Gehrman, the wind has begun to blow.
Gehrman breaks his glance on Giovanni for about a moment to start looking around as he shouts back, while keeping an eye on Giovanni, to Valentino. What is happening?
Giovanni looks horrified as the thunder begins to split the sky. The maelstrom has come. We look high over the battlefield as the camera pans up and the wind gets louder and louder. We see Milov Petrenkov fighting in the midst of all these zombies. We see Adana looking around, confused. Hardestadt, too busy fighting the zombies to notice the wind. Some notice, some don't, but it comes all the same. And suddenly thunder splits the sky. As the entire sky opens up, you see the clouds swirl overhead in a tight, cylindrical shape, almost like a tornado opening up, except it's the very sky, as thunder splits the air and the wind begins to pick up. Even those who hadn't noticed before now notice. You see white light split the air as Cappadocius arrives. In the center stone bench, white light opens up as Cappadocius manifests before you all, and you hear his voice crack across the wind like the voice of God himself. Claudius Giovanni, what have you done? Claudius lays upon the ground as the maelstrom picks up, looking terrified. He reaches out, Father! To Augustus, who rises from his seat as the necromancer turns to face Cappadocius. The antediluvian stands there. As Augustus approaches him, fierce winds roar down the rock face and drives everyone back from him. The entire crowd, zombies, Giovanni's men, your men, they fall back before the fierce ferocity of the maelstrom. Augustus says, "He did as I bade, sire. He has taken the place of your own son, as I shall take your place. I want your blood, father. My blood is not mine to give. It belongs to God. Then I hope he forgives me for spilling it." His forgiveness is for all, Augustus, even the likes of you. Sanctimonious sot, I will destroy you! Augustus charges forward, but he finds it hard to move. He raises his arm, he's bracing against the wind, bracing against the maelstrom, as if the radiance of Cappadocius prevents him from approaching. And you hear Cappadocius' voice. Think on what you do, my son. I am to become an eternal sacrifice, that all may have life eternal. I am to create heaven on earth, delivering us all from God's curse and delivering mortals from the grave. Heaven on earth? Never! Augustus, with great exertion, reaches his sire, clashing with Cappadocius. You see them locked together. You cannot stop me! You hear Cappadocius' voice. I have given myself freely, and my soul shall continue, even if this form is extinguished. Then I shall have your soul as well as your power. Augustus buries his fangs into the translucent chest of the antediluvian. But Cappadocius does not defend himself. He closes his eyes in the midst of the maelstrom and gently cradles the necromancer's head to his bosom. Rivulets of blood leak around Augustus's mouth as he gasps, "Ah! His blood burns!" Hardestadt howls, "No! Blasphemy! It must not be!" Hardestadt turns. He tries to attack Augustus, tries to climb over the horde of zombies, but he cannot get past the whirling winds that swirl around the pair and scream like lost souls. But amidst all of this, everyone has lost sight of the Lambs of Isaac, for they have vanished. They have gone into the Shadowlands. Their cloaks have carried them there, protecting them from the maelstrom. As all the Lambs of Isaac look around this landscape, you see each other cloaked and glowing as if protected by the maelstrom from your cloaks. You see each other. The camera focuses in on Gehrman. Gehrman, what do you do? As you look around and you hear the howling wind is instead the voice of lost souls screaming.
Gehrman quickly looks around and he's looking for the others. He's looking for Giulietta and Diego and Valentino.
Diego, what do you do as you climb to your feet and you see the wind is actually a storm of lost souls that swarm around you?
Diego loses his mind a little bit. He actually clenches both hands to his head and just starts a scream that won't stop.
Valentino, everything has faded away. You are protected by your cloak. What happens?
Valentino's eyes go wide with horror, his fangs still out and his sword up, though in defense of what he doesn't know. He runs over to the group, trying to find safety and help them, as well as be protected in fear and uncertainty.
The camera focuses in on Giulietta as she has entered the lands of the dead, protected from the winds by her cloak. Otherwise, she might be blown back or maybe even be torn apart by the maelstrom.
As the maelstrom kind of encircles all of them, she only manages to step forward just one single step as she looks at the others, and she's completely frozen in place. She can't move. She's completely in shock, and her facial expressions, it shows it all. If the others are looking her way, as she just takes in everything.
And you realize, all of you realize that you are with Augustus and with Cappadocius in the lands of the dead as the maelstrom roars around all of you. They are solid to you, and you might be able to fight your way to them through the maelstrom.
We can stop this.
He looks towards Valentino and grits his teeth. Charge the hill! As he pushes with his sword facing them, he begins to try to move, to push against the winds.
Valentino likewise takes his sword in two hands and raises it as he runs towards the pair.
What do Diego and Valentino, what are Diego and Julieta doing as Valentino and Gehrman charge where Augustus and Cappadocius stand? Oh no, we lost Sam.
Oh no.
Oh my god, her screen froze. It's okay. We'll say she's frozen with fear for now. Yeah. But Diego, what are you doing?
Diego sees the others running off and stops himself from screaming. He looks confused for a moment and then follows after them almost in a daze.
All right, those who are charging Augustus and Cappadocius, you have to make a courage roll to do it. Difficulty 6. The maelstrom is terrifying. The camera focuses, I'll focus in on each of you individually as you try to charge up the maelstrom. We're going to start with Valentino.
Valentino, as he begins his charge, he looks around at the swirling spirits and at these two great titans, and his steps falter. He slows to a stop, holding his sword out, but unable to press forward.
The camera shifts to Diego.
Although frightened at first, Diego has steeled himself against the horrors of this storm, and he continues forward.
And finally, Gehrman.
Gehrman is digging his swords into the ground, using them as almost rungs on a ladder as he begins to crawl. His sword and then his dagger up the hill and against the wind with his teeth bared as he roars out in courage.
Diego, you reach the hill first. You stand before Augustus, who is clutching to Cappadocius. Cappadocius is gently cradling him amidst the storm, his eyes closed and a serene smile on his face as Augustus feeds greedily.
Release him, bastardo.
Augustus ignores you, continuing to feed.
Then he'll turn down to Gehrman and reach out his hand.
Gehrman reaches up, letting go of his dagger with one hand, reaching for Diego and the other hand clasping his claymore, locks hands with Diego and pulls himself up as he stands with Augustus within reach. He holds his claymore high and he yells to the heavens and into the middle of the maelstrom, "By the light of the true Father, I smite thee!" And he brings his claymore down on top of Augustus Giovanni.
Roll your attack, difficulty 3.
And he's spending a willpower.
Roll your damage.
So it's 6, 5. Is my potent still buff from before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
The fucking ones.
Augustus is struck by the sword, and he stops.
That's 3 damage.
Oh no, he activated his fortitude, so
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he soaked it. He stops, feeding on Cappadocius, the burning blood of the antediluvian running down his veins, running down his chin as he turns his withered face to look at you, and a look of horror goes through you as the child of the antediluvian glares at you. Get back! He is my kill! Valentino, we're gonna skip your action for this turn, but you can yell out something as you can see them gathered there.
Can he yell out and do a tactics maneuver, charisma leadership?
No, not through the maelstrom. I'm sorry.
Okay. Garmin, you have to end this. He cries out as he barely can look up against the
camera-
blowing winds.
The camera pans to Julietta.
Julietta was frozen for some time, but she somewhat regains herself as she's looking at everything. She sees Gehrman attack Augustus with his sword, and Augustus turns, and there's just this almighty evil in him. And when she sees this, does she feel as though maybe her powers will work in this realm that they're in?
You
Or
have
does she not have any idea?
you have no way of knowing. But you,
He's more real now than he was before.
yeah, he is. You're in the same realm as he is.
Then she's going to try and use her powers once more against him with her incubus humor.
Okay, you don't even need to roll. The minute you try to use your powers, the maelstrom completely deflects whatever discipline you're trying to use. You have to get through the maelstrom. You see that immediately right away, that the storm of souls that is racing down is completely preventing you from affecting them.
So she has to get through what? What are they all already there?
Yeah, you
She's-
have to try and fight your way through the stream.
Okay, well she will.
All right, go ahead and make a courage roll to see if you can do it. Difficulty 6. All right, Julietta, you manage it. Go ahead and describe your fight through the maelstrom.
Julietta pushes her body through this unbelievably strong force of undead souls, and it is just horrifying. And there's somewhat of a scream that slips through her gentle lips as she's trying to get through it. And when she finally does, and emerges amongst the others, she then focuses her attention on Augustus, but she can't do anything right. That was her turn.
All right. Augustus faces you, Gehrman, as you stare at the necromancer alongside Diego, just as Julietta meets you, and he draws up while Cappadocius stands there watching you, not saying a word. Augustus draws. He is my kill. And swings at you, Gehrman. And he hits you directly in the head. With his potence, that is 15 successes. Gehrman, you have to roll your soak. That's 15 lethal to your head. You can't use your armor.
Okay,
yes, you get a celerity dodge. Oh my god, you have a celerity dodge.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
All right. Roll your dodge.
And that's Dex, Athletics.
Yes, dexterity, athletics.
He's gonna be spending a willpower.
All right.
Yes.
Oh my god.
So as he swings through sheer willpower in the middle of this maelstrom, Gehrman is able to move to the side so that he just barely grazes across the side of his head.
It's a blow from the child of an antediluvian, a blow that would have completely knocked you, maybe even ripped your head off. Diego, Augustus has engaged Gehrman.
Did I see the force of this blow?
Yes, you saw in fact, it ripped through souls as his fist went through Gehrman.
Well, what happens is, Diego is not someone who can stand up against something like this, and he's so afraid, he falls backwards down the hill.
You are swept up as the maelstrom blows you away from Cappadocius and Augustus and the clash that is going on as we go now to Gehrman.
Can I yell something while I'm going down?
Oh yeah.
Let him have him!
Determined. Gehrman will not let this plan fail. He will not let him diablerize someone as holy as Cappadocius, and he will foil his plans. Pumping his body with blood, he raises his claymore again, two-handing it both, snarling his fangs down at Augustus Giovanni as he roars out, brings the claymore down, and he's going to attempt to completely decapitate Augustus.
All right, roll your attack. Are you aiming for something?
I'm aiming for his neck.
Difficulty 9.
And this will take up Gehrman's last willpower.
All right. That is 5 successes. Reroll them 2s. Them 10s. All right, 5 success hit. You get a +2 damage for the neck.
Okay.
Oh my god. Roll the 10s again.
With his successes, that's 16 damage to his neck.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Just need 3.
Okay, 7 plus 6. He has a fortitude of 6. 7 plus 6, 13.
And I did 16.
You decapitate Augustus Giovanni. Describe it!
As Gehrman raises his sword, he brings it down with holy smite in the name of his true father. And he clashes with Augustus's neck as it cleaves. And as it cuts through this child's neck, it begins to spout out light as it begins to just explode with light around them as his sword just cleaves through this undead flesh, severing this man's head at the very top of the hill of the Maelstrom.
As Gehrman smites Augustus, reactions all around. Valentino, you saw it happen. What do you do?
Valentino's mouth just drops, and he drops his sword. He just watched this Titan go down to Gehrman, his friend, and his eyes go wide in amazement as he loses his sword in the wind of the Maelstrom, and he falls to his knees in just awesome disbelief.
What does Julietta do?
Julietta's eyes are widened like a doe caught in lights. I mean, her hands go to her mouth, and she is just suppressing a scream as she sees this Titan of men, just his head just gets cleanly whipped off of his shoulders by Gehrman.
Diego, what do you do?
Diego, his body akimbo at the bottom of the hill, looks up just in time to see Augustus's head fly from his shoulders. And his mouth opens in stark disbelief.
And
His
Gehrman,
brain whirling with one word, impossible.
and as the camera pans up to the top of the Maelstrom, the very eye of the storm, as Gehrman stands over the decapitated Augustus Giovanni, you stand there before the antediluvian Cappadocius. And in the midst of the Maelstrom, Cappadocius looks at you, Gehrman. He smiles and shakes his head sadly. If a man smites your cheek, offer him the other to smite. Only then can I bring heaven to earth and life everlasting to all. He lifts his hand, and Augustus Giovanni's corpse rises from the ground, his head reattaching. To your horror, Gehrman, suddenly Cappadocius waves his hand, and you are blown back by the Maelstrom. You are blown spilling down the hill. What is Gehrman's reaction as he witnesses this?
The look on his face is just shocked and awed by Cappadocius's response. They had won. Victory was in their grasp. And with the reattachment of Augustus's head, his eyes go wide, and he flies back with a cry and a roar. As he tumbles down the hill, he tries to gain momentum to try and stick his sword into the ground and catch him, but he ends up tumbling well past the hill.
And as Gehrman is sent flying, and you manage to get your purchase on the hill, Gehrman, you look up and you see Augustus bewildered. He resumes his diablerie of his father, Cappadocius, who cradles the greedy necromancer's head gently to his chest. Cappadocius says to all four of you as you lay stricken in the midst of the Maelstrom, "Were it not for me, my children, I must become a sacrifice. I must. He looks down to Augustus, who continues to feed hungrily. Does anyone call out, or do you watch in horror?
Valentino is watching in horror and not knowing what to do.
Completely spent, Gehrman put everything he had, his entire body and mind, into stopping Augustus, only for it to fail and fall so short. All he can do is lay on the ground with his sword in the dirt and look up and pant with his teeth bared and slightly call out in small, mediocre roars.
What is Julietta doing?
As Augustus rises and he continues to diablerize Cappadocius, and Cappadocius speaks to the four of them, she she can't believe what is going on, and eventually she finds her hand slipping from her mouth as she can't help but call out, watching this happen, and she yells to him, "You fool!"
Diego, what are you doing?
As Diego watched Augustus die, all of his fears that this is how it would end were immediately allayed, and now the world has fallen out from under him again, and he sees what he knew would inevitably happen, against all impossibility, and he just cannot force himself to move his limbs. He has to watch it to the end.
And Julieta, as your hair whips around you, you see the spirit of your sire who tried to cling to you. She's shrieking. She's shrieking at you. Theophana's spirit is trying to cling to you, but the wind of the maelstrom is pulling her in its tidal grip. She shrieks, "No!" Her spirit howling, ripped away from you, swept up in the fourth maelstrom as Augustus continues to feed. He finishes the diablerie, and when he does, his head immediately whips back, his mouth and eyes opening and shooting with beams of light. Light radiates as if a great light filled his head. He reels like a drunkard atop the hill. He manages to cry out, "Claudius! His soul flies! Get the dove! Catch it!" Before he vanishes. Cappadocius's body melts away to nothing. The lambs of Isaac see a tiny spark become engulfed in the maelstrom and pulled inexorably towards the broken dove that lays upon the ground just feet away. And you see, in the midst of the storm, a single figure that you had not seen before. This figure is standing amidst the maelstrom, clad in a monk's robe. And as she stands over the dove, as the spark of Cappadocius's soul flies towards the dove, you see her. You see her hood lower, and you recognize who it is.
Oh, man.
You see Mariana, child of Claudius, stand there amidst the maelstrom, changed as she was. You see her cut her wrist and spill her Giovanni blood upon the dove. The spark immediately turns away, escaping, as Cappadocius's soul spark disappears into the sky. The heavens finally open, and the souls begin to die as their screaming fades, and the sky opens with a split of rain that cracks down. The lambs of Isaac return to the land of the living in the wake of what had just happened, as Mariana stands over the dove. Claudius Giovanni is kneeling over the dove. He cannot believe what he's seeing. As the rain pours down in the garden, Claudius looks in horror at the bloody dove. "Come back!" he cries to the soul. The maelstrom is gone. In the aftermath of the battle, you see the founders standing in shock. And amidst it all, you hear one wail. One pure cry of horrible grief. "Would that I were dead, ere I lived to see such a night." Japheth kneels upon the ground, wretched and miserable and alone. Alone after all those thousands of years, his father gone. There is nothing but the rain as we end our scene. Finn.
Brava!
Holy shit!
Ah,
That was really good.
I know we ran over time, man, but I hope it was worth it.
More than.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I killed a fucking antediluvian! Holy shit, oh my god.
Yeah?
Oh,
Only nope, just kidding.
I don't care, man. I'm gonna take that with me forever.
I have to agree. I'm amazed you guys not only disrupted Claudius's diablerie, but you managed to kill fucking Augustus Giovanni. Like, it was really impressive. I'm impressed by all you guys, and it was amazing roleplay tonight. Holy shit. Good job, everyone. That is the end of our first story, The Last Supper. Yeah.
We didn't die.
And we didn't die.
No, you didn't die.
We did more than just not die. We fucking wrecked house.
Can we talk about, like, Garamond, how narrowly he avoided getting his head ripped off by Augustus? Like,
That was
15 lethal
so close.
to your head.
That was unbelievable. I have never been so grateful for one dot of celerity in my life. Holy shit.
Hey man, one dot's one dot.
One dot's one dot. Get wrecked. Holy crap. Everything was just so narrow. So just, I mean, right on the edge. You know, I dodged it by one success. I got exactly what I needed. I decapitated him with exactly what I needed.
Yep.
Oh my god.
I mean, the fucker had 10 stamina and 6 fortitude. Like, I did not expect you guys to do that.
That was unreal. With the music, man, I'm like shaking.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to go back to my regular day after that?
The music was like right on point when you were like chopping his head off. It was like, ah, like those people were like singing, and it was crazy.
Oh, that's theme. Oh.
Was it good, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
All right, awesome. That's all the feedback I care about. All right. So, with the close of the first story, we're gonna get your guys' experience. Honestly, I don't even know where to begin. Honestly, I don't. But for successfully completing the story, let's start here. You guys all get 5 experience points.
Cool.
Woo.
So let's add that to your experience total. And for successfully, when the maelstrom hit, all 4 of you were wearing hoods and cloaks and boots, and that is due to Julieta. So Sam, you're going to get an additional 2 experience points for figuring out the importance of the cloaks.
Guys.
Um,
Oh man.
Valentino, let's see. You successfully avenged yourself on your sire, and it was exquisite. I'll give you the 3 experience points that everyone else who avenged themselves got
Nice.
on their sire. Diego, I really enjoyed your performance tonight, man. You were so good, and you successfully climbed that hill. With you made it through the maelstrom. That's going to be an additional experience point for you. Daniel, and Sam successfully made it through the maelstrom. So yeah, she's going to get another experience point. Daniel, You're going to come out tonight as the big winner because you were the one to successfully disrupt Claudius's diablerie. That's going to give you 3 experience points.
Okay.
You decapitated Augustus. I don't know how to calculate that.
That's just weird to say.
But we'll call it 4 experience points because I'm trying to picture in my head if this was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, like, you know, you've killed Augustus and you kill him and like that experience point flashes across the top of the screen, what would it be? Probably be a 4. Yeah, Sam, for meeting your sire and getting rid of her a second time in the Maelstrom, and making that deal even at the expense of yourself, you know, being haunted, you know, even though you need these shrouds, your character gains a point of humanity and an experience point.
And she loses the flaw haunted.
Yes, and you lose the haunted flaw because Theophana's gone forever. She was lost in the Maelstrom.
Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome, guys. Everybody,
Holy
I mean,
shit.
that was a great session, and now we vote for best role player of the night, if we can possibly do that, because you guys were all so great.
I don't even know that's possible. The
Oh.
cinematic moments.
That's right. Story-wide achievements. So you guys get a base 5 for completing the story. Now you get, now you all get experience based on achievements. You all successfully achieved your goal. That's 2 experience points for everybody. The events of the Last Supper went as well as they possibly could have for you guys, and I was really impressed. If you guys did not figure out the shrouds, there's no way you could have made it to Cappadocius or Augustus. Like, that would have been impossible. You know, if you guys successfully saved Japheth Cappadocius is alive in our setting now because of what you guys did.
Crazy.
He was supposed to have been diablerized by Claudius. Like, but Japheth is alive. I mean, we'll see for how long, because he's without his father now. But yeah, 2 experience points. That was for everybody. For and I think it was Gehrman who held the sword, but I really feel like it was a group effort that led him there to fight Augustus. And,
yeah, I'm not even gonna try
and
to
take like
claim
full
like
credit.
it was
Because
like,
it was really everybody who brought him there. So everybody. Gehrman's going to get 4 for delivering the blow, but everyone else is going to get 2 for contributing. Because I really feel like everybody brought something to the table which allowed Gehrman to be there. So everybody else other than Daniel, give yourself an additional 2. And for great role playing, I could not have been more happier than with your role playing with this story. Everybody else gets an additional 3 experience points for your role playing. So everybody did a great job. And now we vote for best role player of the night.
unreal though.
So let's start with Vukar.
I feel like this is like the obvious answer, but I can't not give it. Gehrman fucking slew fucking Augustus. I have to give it. That's like the most entertaining thing I've ever heard of. So yeah, I have to give it to Gehrman.
All right, we're gonna go to Daniel. Daniel, who did you enjoy the most?
Dude, come back to me. I can't even choose. Like, dude, the cinematic moments between everyone was just insane.
It was like a movie.
It was
right?
unreal.
Yeah.
Unfucking real. Like, between Julieta getting the cloaks and, like, let's be honest, we owe just being able to be there to her. Like, that's incredible. Friggin' with Valentino avenging himself and killing his sire, fighting next, doing all of his fighting, which was really impressive, by the way.
Next to Hardestadt, the most
Next to
legendary
Hardestadt.
adventure.
Back to back was fun.
Yeah, that was incredibly fun to watch.
and then coming to the maelstrom and like yelling to Gehrman to push it on, and then Diego at the top of the fucking maelstrom reaching out a hand to pull him up so that he could fight. Like, this is unreal, dude. I would give it to every single one of you.
Well, you can't, so I'll come back to you.
That's yeah.
Scott, who do you like, man?
Oh, it is rough. I think that I'm going to give it to Sam, though,
Yeah.
for having the courage to go back to the monastery with all that was going on and facing her sire down as a spirit. And bringing back the cloaks, which Diego stubbornly didn't take in the first place. Yeah.
Yep. What was your humanity at, babe? Originally? Oh, I know. It's okay. We can include them in the discussion.
Oh, okay.
Just hold up fingers.
Oh.
Hold
Sign language stuff.
How much was your humanity? Okay, got it. All right, Julietta has gained quite a bit of her humanity back. Anyway, all right, Sam, who are you voting for?
Oh gosh, this is really hard. That last scene was like epic. Like, I can't even I mean, Julietta was so freaked out. She was like screaming. Like, she was so freaked out. And God, but everyone did such a good job. I mean, Diego did a really good job. He really came out of his comfort zone and he learned how to fight and he killed some damn zombies. Like, jeez, like, and then, Valentino killing Yadviga, like, I was really happy that he got to do that. And then Gehrman, I mean, we don't really have to say anything about Gehrman. I mean, geez, like, that was insanity. But I really, really, really do feel like I have to give it to Daniel. Just because, I mean, God, like, that'll never happen again. Like, that, I can't even believe that. Like, that's like 1 in a million chance. Like, that was insanity. So I give it to Daniel just because, I mean, holy shit.
All right, 2 votes for Daniel and 1 vote for Sam. Daniel, clearly you've won tonight. But who do you vote for? Who gets your vote?
Honestly, I gotta give it to Sam.
Yeah.
Like, her ability to role play in a way that contradicts the group, but yet it always comes out to benefit all of us. Like, her separate side thing with Vlad Tepish, her separate side mission to get the cloaks. It's like, we're always together, and then she decides she's going to go do her own thing, and it ends up working for the group, and it's an unbelievable pleasure to watch. So I'm going to give it to Sam.
Well spoken. All right, so I'm gonna message everyone your XP tally, just in case we have different numbers. By the way, my record keeping supersedes yours.
How do ties work
Hmm.
in Best Role Player of the Night?
Ties?
Yeah.
Oh, ties. Nobody gets anything.
What was a tie?
It was a tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, between me and Sam.
Holy shit. Okay, I will say ties. Both the people who tie both get an experience point. So Sam's gonna get 1 more. But I swear to God, you guys, don't abuse it. Don't abuse it to give yourselves more experience. Like, come on.
We're gonna meet like after every session and like work it out. Okay, this time you 2 will get it, and then this time we'll get it, and then we'll just round robin.
Yeah. Okay, so ties, both people get it. That's what. Because nobody gets anything. That's kind of lame. Because you guys are really good. Anyway. Yeah, I think everybody Yeah, but my record keeping is accurate. I assure you. Nothing I take more seriously than experience points. So if you had less or more, my records are accurate. I assure you.
No,
Um,
mine's a different one.
well, yeah, you've got one more, babe.
Is my tally including that one?
What?
The tally you sent me for the XP, is that including the role player of the night one?
Yes,
For
that is
tonight?
that is including role player of the night. Um, so yeah, I promise you, you're not getting jack points. I kept track of them.
Oh,
All right, guys.
that was unfucking believable.
Right. So that's it. That's it for tonight. I'm gonna do my best to get the next story up and going next week. If I'm not ready for the next story, which by the way is going to be called Blood and Fire, it's going to be 200 years in the future.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Quite
If I'm
the
not
difference.
if I'm not ready by next week, what we'll do is we'll do like a mini session. We'll do an epilogue session for the Last Supper, and we will see what happens in the aftermath of Cappadocius's diablerie. Actually, I think we need to do that anyway. So we'll do an epilogue session next week, and I'm going to be getting the next story ready in the meantime.